Hey everyone, it's Anna, and today I am finally going to be talking about my Accutane experience, hence why I'm not wearing much makeup. And I just did that so you guys can kind of see what my skin looks like. I mean, I will insert pictures throughout the video, so keep an eye out for those. But I thought I would just wear less makeup than usual to film this video. So in case you don't know what Accutane is, it's basically a very strong prescription drug that is meant to help with skin issues. I took it for acne. What it does in a sense is dry your acne out from the inside out, so everything gets really dry, and I'll get into that later. Now, Accutane is like the name brand, but I got prescribed was actually called isotretinoid, which I will put somewhere on the screen in case you want to do some research on it. And that's just a little bit about what Accutane is in case you clicked on this video just wanting to know like what I did to help my acne, or maybe you're subscribed to me and you just wanted to see the latest video. I don't know, whatever the case is. That's just a little bit about Accutane. Now, before I get into a couple of things, I want to give you a little bit of background on my skin. I'm not going to give you this whole sob story because it doesn't really matter and you're going to see the pictures. So, but a little bit about my skin and why I needed to be on Accutane was because I had acne-prone skin my whole life. I have had oily skin my whole life. I started getting pimples when I was like 11, and it wasn't ever really that bad. Like, it was probably just average teenager stuff until I was around 19 when it got really bad and really cystic, and that is when I decided to go on Accutane. And now, after having been on Accutane, my skin is normal to maybe dry, but really just average. And if I get a pimple, like you might see a couple of pimples on my skin or like blackheads or anything, honestly, that is my own fault. It's because maybe I didn't wash my face or I used a dirty pillowcase. Like, every time I notice a pimple, I can look back and be like, oh yeah, I forgot to wash my face for a day. That would do it. Now, something that is fairly common if, let's say, you decide you want to try this after watching this video, it's going to take a while before the pills are actually in your hand, because most doctors want you to try basically everything else before resorting to Accutane. Accutane is like plan Z. So for me, like I said, I had acne-prone skin basically my whole life. I had tried all the face washes and the creams and the gels and the antibiotics, and I had also tried the more natural approach of like changing my pillowcase every so often, or not touching my face, or using oil cleansing or honey face masks and all of that stuff. And my doctor knew this, and so we decided, you know what, none of these things are giving me the results that I want, and so that's when I got prescribed Accutane. So getting on Accutane is a whole process, and from the moment you and your doctor decide that you should start Accutane, before you actually have the pills in your hand, it's going to be at least a month, most likely. At least that's what it was for me, because there's lots of paperwork. You have to be on 2 forms of birth control. You have to have your blood tested every single month. You have to have a blood drawn to make sure that you're okay. You have to sign all these papers basically saying that if you get pregnant, or if you get someone pregnant and that child is born with a deformity, you won't sue, because it is a very serious drug. And then every single month before you can actually go to the pharmacy and pick up your medication, you have to go online and take a test, basically just saying you know what you're doing. It's not a hard test. It's open book. They give you a little pamphlet, and like some example questions would be, is abstinence a reliable form of birth control? Yes or no? And you would mark no. Or it might ask, which 2 forms of birth control are you on? And it might list a couple, and you need to pick the ones that you told your doctor you would be on so that they kind of coincide. All of this isn't that hard, but it is a lot. So for the first month, and you will see this in the time-lapse that I'm going to insert later, for the first month I was on 40 milligrams a day, and max would be 80, so I was at a half dose. And then the second month I was like, you know what? I am tired of acne, let's bump it up, and I went to 80 milligrams a day. And that was until I was maybe like 5.5 months on Accutane, and I was really happy with my skin, and I just kind of decided like, I'm good. I don't need perfect skin. I'm kind of done with this whole process, and so that's when I began tapering off. But those were just some like boring facts about Accutane, I guess, some logistics of it. And now I want to talk a little bit more about my experience on it, like my symptoms, would I recommend it, would I do it again, and that sort of thing. So first off, my symptoms, I had textbook symptoms of, you know, everything's dry. Your hair, your skin, my eyes sometimes, My hands got really dry. Of course, I will say, as bad as the symptoms were, I was still happy to be on it because, well, yeah, I took extra time in my routine to like put on Aquaphor and moisturize and all of that. It was actually saving me time because prior I had been on all of these acne medications and I had to, you know, apply things in a certain order and then moisturize and all that. And it was really the same amount of effort I put into my skin as when I had acne. So at least this, yeah, my skin was dry, but at least I could see results. I did have like eczema on the back of my hands that was pretty intense. I actually had to be prescribed another medication for this. It was just like a cream I would put on my hands like twice a day, but it was still kind of a pain. And then my hair didn't get oily because everything's getting dried up from the inside out, which meant that I didn't have to wash my hair as often, which was pretty cool. And I also didn't have to shave as often because since there was no oil, my hair wasn't growing very fast, and so my legs didn't need shaving. I've seen some other YouTubers that have been on Accutane as well, and they make videos like this, and some of them will have like raving reviews and they think it's awesome. Some of them say they regret it and the process was really hard. Some complain about their symptoms a little more than I am, which is fine because everyone is different, and it didn't impact me that much, but who knows, it could impact you a lot and you might need to talk to your doctor about that. But really, nothing was so intense that I would regret it. If anything, I'm really glad I did it because here I am like a year after taking it and I hardly ever wear makeup. My morning and nighttime routine was cut in half at least. I will say I wouldn't recommend Accutane to someone who maybe just has a breakout like once a month or just has some minimal scarring or like blackheads or something. Basically, if you have minor skin issues, I would not recommend Accutane. It is a serious drug, and if my skin wasn't so bad, I would never have went on it. Of course, all this being said, if you are seriously considering going on Accutane, I recommend just talking to your doctor about it because you can watch all of the YouTube videos in the world on it, or you can read all of the blogs or see all of the before and after pictures, and at the end of the day, I don't know what your skin looks like. I don't know how it reacts to certain things. The only person that knows that is you and your doctor. And when it comes to how my skin was concerned and my lifestyle and everything like that, I would recommend it. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, well, my skin looks like that and I've tried those things too, then yeah, definitely call your doctor up and sit down and talk about it because it is a lengthy process. So if you're thinking about it, I recommend just talking to your doctor. So now I'm going to show you guys a time lapse that I did of my face every single day I was on Accutane. It was a process, not the funnest video to edit, that's for sure. But what I did was I showed the first day that I started Accutane, I showed a couple angles of my skin, and then every single day after I just showed you guys one side of my face. And I did this because I realized when I was looking straight at the camera, you couldn't see the damage, honestly, because most of my acne was around my chin, it was kind of on my neck, so I just faced one direction, the side that I thought was the worst. And you can definitely see the progress in my skin. You can see when it gets worse, when it gets better, when it's just scarring, how the scars start to kind of fade. I will say in the first month, I didn't really see much progress with my skin. In fact, I kind of think it got worse. Why I think it got worse basically immediately was because I was on all of these products to try and help my acne, and I stopped them in order to take Accutane. And while those weren't giving me the results I wanted, they were still helping my skin, and when I stopped those, my skin just blew up. And then the second month is when the Accutane really started to work and it started like purging, and you'll probably notice that as well. But I remember thinking at around month 4 that like I was happy with my skin, and I remember thinking like, even if it doesn't get better, I'm okay, I'm happy with how it is. Of course, I stayed on Accutane a little bit longer because I wanted the effects to be lasting. And in the time lapse as well, I do have like how many milligrams I was taking a day. And trust me, I did take a picture every single day, whether I was traveling or if I had just gotten out of the shower and my hair was wet, or if my hair was in curlers or whatever. So don't judge me. I mean, sometimes I wore the same pajama shirt like 3 nights in a row. I'm sorry. But with all that being said, I'm just gonna stop rambling and show you that clip. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video.